Want to turn now back to the Middle East. A documentary released earlier this year amid anti-Israel protests on college campuses uses specific scripture to point out the biblical basis for standing with Israel. Wendy Griffith spoke with the film's director and creator.
8 years in the making, the production of Why Stand With Israel involved numerous trips to the Holy Land and interviews with top Christian and Jewish leaders.
This is God's land. This is probably the only country that has a deed signed by God where he gave it to a specific people group and put them in a land for one reason, and that is to bless the entire world.
When we get Israel out of the equation, we miss a big part of God's plan of salvation.
I'm excited, and I pray that those that would watch our film, they would see God's heart on display for why he chose the Jewish people and the nation of Israel, because this is the only people group and land he made an everlasting covenant with.
The film debuts with anti-Semitism growing to levels not seen since World War II, and anti-Israel protests on college campuses spreading chaos, fear, and shutting down graduation ceremonies. Director Brian Sanders says this all leads to a divine message.
We've seen such diabolical hatred and just prejudice and bias against the Jewish people on college campuses, and it is truly rampant. And you know, the church was silent during the Holocaust, and I believe nowadays we can't afford as believers, as Christians, to be silent again against God's people and his nation that he calls his. And so I believe it's truly important for such a time as this that I believe God is shaking the church and say, I want you to stand with my people.
If they're God's chosen people and the apple of his eye, why have they been the most hated group, the most persecuted group from the beginning of time?
Well, I believe it's a spiritual battle. I mean, Israel, Jerusalem itself is the most contested piece of real estate on the planet. And since the beginning of time, since the days of Pharaoh, I mean, the enemy of God has been against God's people. And unfortunately, we're seeing even anti-Semitism within the church. And that cannot happen. We can't allow that.
Sanders reinforces that blessings follow those who stand with Israel.
What comes to mind is Genesis 12:3. I will bless those who bless thee, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And through you, all the nations of the earth will be blessed. We need to be on the side of God.
Wendy Griffith, CBN News.